In this episode, you'll discover 5 mistakes visitors to Hawaii unknowingly make and exactly how you can avoid them on your next trip. And yes, I have made a few of these mistakes myself. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii's Best, the podcast that helps you discover the best of Hawaii. Here, you'll get travel tips, the latest news, and everything you need to plan an unforgettable trip to Hawaii. Aloha, my name is Brian, your guide to the best of Hawaii, and in today's episode, you'll discover the mistake many visitors unknowingly make that frustrate locals, why relying on commercial marketing for your Hawaii experience can ruin your trip, and simple ways to show respect to local people and sacred places that most travelers completely overlook. Welcome to episode 138 of Hawaii's Best, and on this show, we often feature local businesses and voices who share their unique perspectives on visiting Hawaii and its culture, helping you travel with Aloha. Today it's just me and you, and we're going to recap my recent conversation from just this past Wednesday with Kamaka Pili, a native Hawaiian cultural practitioner. Today we're going to cover 5 common mistakes that many visitors make that honestly upset locals and exactly how you can avoid them. So if you haven't listened to my full conversation with Kamaka yet, I highly recommend checking it out after you listen to this one. So you can just scroll down and click the link in the episode of this description. By the end of this episode, you'll know if you're accidentally making one of these common mistakes when visiting Hawaii. And if you find yourself making one of them, you'll know exactly what you can do differently to connect more authentically with local culture, support local voices, and have a more meaningful visit to Hawaii. Now, I know I've made a few of these mistakes, and as we go along, I'm going to highlight some of those mistakes that I've made in my journey in traveling to Hawaii. As I was listening back to my conversation with Kamaka, and by the way, part 2 is going to be this coming Wednesday, so you're not going to want to miss that. But in part 1 from this past Wednesday, he didn't outline these 5 mistakes. Mistake number 1, mistake number 2. But as I was listening back, I started picking up on themes, and these are the 5 mistakes that I picked up on as I was listening back. And I just wanted to briefly share these with you to keep the conversation going about this topic of traveling to Hawaii with Aloha. Let's go ahead and let's dive into mistake number 1, which is misunderstanding the word Aloha. And this is definitely one of the mistakes that I have made, is not fully understanding the word Aloha or taking the time to listen what the word actually means and represents, because at the heart of it, well, I'm just going to let Kamaka take it away and explain a little bit more about what Aloha truly means.
For me, Aloha it's more of a transaction between 2 people, a person and a thing. It's this relationship that you have with one another.
So Aloha simply isn't just a greeting, and that's what my first understanding was of it years back. It's about a genuine connection between people, the land, and as visitors, we can honor this meaning by being authentic, respectful, and sincere in our interactions on island and even off island as well. It's this living that life of Aloha. Mistake number 2 is viewing Hawaii only as a vacation spot. This is a mistake that I have made, and I think sometimes I still make from time to time. We go to Hawaii both for business, but also for, pleasure as a vacation spot. And sometimes I can just get the blinders on and I just want to go to Hawaii and just enjoy myself and enjoy my family. And that's all good fun. But viewing Hawaii only through that lens is definitely a mistake that I've made. It's easy to forget that Hawaii isn't just a tourist destination. It's someone's home. And Kamaka shared how frustrating it can be for some local people when visitors overlook this.
As much as tourists come here and enjoy this as their vacation and their trip, native Hawaiians and people who call Hawaii home, your vacation day is our work day and a day for us to try to survive and pay the bills.
So when visiting Hawaii, it's important to respect that locals they're living their daily lives. You're visiting their home, so understanding that shift can gain perspective on how you travel, how you interact with the waiter, the waitress, the hostess, or wherever you go in Hawaii. Mistake number 3, getting Hawaiian culture from commercials instead of locals. Many visitors rely on advertisements because there's a lot of ad budget behind commercials and advertising. And a lot of visitors rely on that to understand Hawaiian culture. But Kamaka stressed how important it is for visitors to get the real stories and experiences from local Hawaiians themselves.
If you're going to take home stories of Hawaii visitors and tourists, take it from us as storytellers. We're the storytellers of our home, not the commercials. Because a lot of the times, if not all the times, those who sell Hawaii are not from Hawaii.
So if you truly want to experience Hawaii, find local storytellers, guides, businesses, support their voices, not just, the big commercials, even as simple as going to a local Hawaiian-owned restaurant. And I can't wait for you to hear from a week from today. I'm going to have one of my favorite spots on Oahu on the east side. We're going to be sharing about their story, this local Hawaiian-owned restaurant. Okay, mistake number 4, not understanding or respecting sacred places. This is a mistake that I've made. I don't think I unintentionally disrespected sacred places, but I just didn't have the understanding of sacred places like Iolani Palace or Heiau's temples. Kamaka shared an example of how visitors can unintentionally disrespect sacred sites and traditions, sometimes causing real harm.
I shared a video on social media about this rock formation that is in our Hawaiian stories, Pele's canoe, and Pele is the deity of the volcano, and there's stories that she created the islands. Well, I shared that, and I was just reminding, be careful what you share, and be careful giving away the locations and all these things, because people with bad intentions are going to come and mess it all up.
So before you visit or share about culturally important sites, learn the significance from locals, from people like Kamaka, and understand the boundaries and respect for them. Ask questions instead of just assuming. And the 5th common mistake would be taking advantage of Aloha and local generosity. Hawaii is one of the most welcoming, loving places in all the earth, but because of that, it also has led to people taking advantage of this local generosity. And Kamaka explained the historical context of Aloha being taken advantage of and how frustrating that can be for Hawaiians.
Don't take my Aloha for weakness. And I think history shares that Aloha was taken advantage of in the past, because one thing to Hawaiians is we're all about sharing, and that is what made us who we are.
So as visitors, never mistake kindness and openness for weakness or entitlement. So always approaching interactions with humility, appreciation, and respect. And I know if you're listening to this episode, you're definitely in that category of humility, appreciation, and respect, because you care about how to travel to Hawaii with Aloha. And I just appreciate you tuning in and taking the time to want to learn more about Hawaii before visiting. And maybe you've visited 10, 20 times prior and you want to gain a deeper understanding of Hawaii as we're on this journey together in learning and discovering and hearing from local Hawaiians like Kamaka. It's an amazing journey discovering more about this place that we all love. So is there one of these mistakes that you've made or one area that you want to work on? I know for me, the area that I still want to work on is having more of a deeper understanding of sacred places and stories of Hawaii. That's something that I want to continue to learn about and continue to study and just sit under people like Kamaka and hear his stories. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Next Wednesday, we're going to hear about the story of Waikiki, its past, and what it is currently, how it became that. I can't wait for you to hear that conversation. So if you found value in this episode, the best way to show your support and make sure you don't miss future conversations is to hit follow right now on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you're listening. And until Wednesday, as always, live with Aloha.
Mahalo for listening to this episode of Hawaii's Best. To stay up to date on future episodes, please subscribe and visit us at hawaiisbesttravel.com.
It's Aloha Friday.